Welcome back to Prof E Plays. I'm Prof E, and this is, I believe, session 17 of playing through Shadowdark. So at this point, we are kind of rebuilding, because last time, when I kind of thought it would be the end, it was not. Because it turns out that Sage, the last remaining party member from a totally disastrous battle, went back to his master sorceress, Ophelia, who said, no, I want you to continue with this, but we're going to be a little bit smarter about it this time. So we're going to, again, assemble a party, and then I'm going to send you on side quests so you can build up your um, abilities before we send you in to get that hammer, the Hammer of Laos, which you went after before. So that is where we are right now. So what we're going to be doing is, again, traveling around through the land that we have created here with the help of the sandbox generator. And we're going to try to figure out, let's see, rearrange my angle here. That's right. So we're going to try to assemble a party again. Again, I would like to have one of each class in that party. So we're starting out at Ophelia's Tower here in kind of I guess what that's the western side of our map. And she actually has a pretty good relationship with the Abbey just to the north. So it makes sense. This would be the place we would go to get somebody in the priest class. So I think that that's what we're going to do. So we're going to travel. With that traveling, we're going to go ahead and roll, see if we happen to hit a random encounter. I always forget whether it's a 6 or a 1 that is considered a random encounter. I know that it really makes a whole lot of difference, but I feel better if I'm... Okay, 1. So we're going to roll a d6, see if we get a random encounter on the way. We do not? Okay, so Sage makes it there, safe and sound, right to the Abbey. The head of the Abbey here, just so you know, as we're approaching it, it's a very standard looking Abbey. Like some of the other Abbeys in this world, it is named Clearwater Abbey. That is headed by a cleric by the name of Hesta. Hesta is mostly known for her elaborately braided hair, in terms of what stands out. Otherwise, she's a fairly neutral character. Her clothing very plain. Her attitude is kind of very even. She's not saying or anything like that. Right, so that is what we know. Also, here, this abbey is known for, in effect, bread and wine as being things that it will produce. It also has a bookshop, and I assume the bookshop here is why Ophelia had a good relationship with them, since Ophelia, of course, is a wizard, would be interested in books and the knowledge that comes from that. And I just dropped my pencil. There it is. I got a close up of my head. Okay. Yep. No cuts. No cuts. So, um, the question then is, can Sage actually convince the people here to provide a priest for his party? And if so, then I think we'll just probably just gather that priest and then move on to the next location we're going to go to without really detailing too much about it because I've only built a certain number of locations. That's really what it comes down to. A lot of the time, that's why I have to break an episode, is because we reach a location that I just haven't detailed yet. All right, so let's go ahead and see. So I think Sage is going to be talking to Ophelia. I think not Ophelia, talking to Hesta about this situation, and I think I'm going to go ahead and let him make a charisma roll just to see how convincing he is. Now, I don't really have a clear DC in mind at this point, but I do want to just kind of get the roll to get some sense of how convincing he is being at this point. 12, so it's not terrible, right? So he has a -1 in charisma, so 11. So he's kind of middling in terms of his convincingness as far as that goes. On the other hand, I think it makes sense that logically this would be a relatively easy task, simply because uh, we know that Hesta and Ophelia get along, right? So when it comes to like actually like providing somebody, I think this makes some degree of sense. Now, one thing that I think Hesta is interested in is there the possibility of there being any kind of treasure acquired in this process? And I think that Sage can be quite clear. The answer is obviously yes. Obviously, there may be some treasure acquired through this process because we know that that is, in fact, one of the things they have to do as part of their training is go and acquire new treasures that can then help them as they think about going down into a dungeon that is clearly way overpowered compared to where the previous party's power level was, right? So I think that that makes some degree of sense that you'll be able to promise that. At which point, I think that then Hesta is clearly right, very relieved at this possibility and very interested in this possibility and says, "Well, I have just the person for you because it's the person that Profi rolled off camera between the previous episode and this one." So So here, I would like to introduce you to Ishana. So here's the priest Ishana. Yes, I'm using the same that I used before for Hank Quinn. So Ishana has background as a ranger before he decided to join the uh, cleric class. Uh, and he has some training in protection from evil, which I think may be helpful potentially if you're going to be engaging in any kind of combat. And also, he is a healer, which also might potentially be useful as well. Right, so he's not particularly skilled in either of these things. Um, just to give the table talk, his wisdom modifier is a -1, so he's not great at the priestly magic. On the other hand, he's a reasonably good fighter. That is a skill that he does actually have, and he does carry with him a crossbow and a staff to be used for these purposes. So we have, in fact, therefore, I think fairly easily, right? We acquired, yeah, we recruited whatever Ishana, right, from Clearwater Abbey there at C5. So the next thing we need to do is find a castle we might possibly want to go to. So when I'm looking around, this castle is clearly the closest, but it's also one we don't want to go to because we have a bad relationship with them. So I'm just kind of thinking of like concentric circles. So here, uh, here, because we don't want to travel any further than we have to, is kind of the idea. So I'm here, so go one, two, so two. All right, so I'm not running into. Okay, that one's two from here. This one's three from here. Four from here. Ah, here we go. So D17 would be a potential castle that we might want to go to. So I'm going to see if that's one that I've detailed or not. I suspect I don't think I have. Um, it's possible. D. No, I have not detailed this one yet. All right. So in that case, this is a very, very short session, but except that I think we need to travel there. Right. So we need to get up here right, to D17. And we are currently down here. So there are going to be a few rolls that are going to have to be made. So let's go ahead and do those. So we're going to do one, two, three. So it's going to be a total of one, two, three. So I guess four steps that we're going to be going through. See if we have random encounters. Oh, we do get a random encounter in that very first one. So this could actually put an end to it. So we are wandering then into the forest here. Right. So there is a landmark here. We are hitting a wilderness random encounter. So let me double check exactly what that is going to entail for us. So, and here I'm using the sandbox generator rules. So random encounter happens in the wilderness. We're going to roll 2d6. It's a 9. 9 indicates that it's something biome related. So it should be something that is appropriate to be in the forest. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and roll my D100. If I go over 52, then I'm going to just subtract 50 from it, and that'll be what we got. Okay, so, okay, no. There we go. 92, so make that a 42. 42, a giant spider. It's totally reasonable to me there'd be a giant spider in the forest. I've read Tolkien, right? I know what happened in Mirkwood. Okay. So in that case, giant spider is what we just ran across. So that would be a 30. So remember 35, page 35 here. Okay. Right. Shadowdark thing that I printed. Okay, so the giant spider. Okay, this is a level 3. Okay, well, this is not great. So let's go ahead and see what we learn about this random encounter. So first, what is the distance of this encounter? Far. Okay, good, 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 good. That's very good. That makes me hopeful that we might be able to run away from it. What is it in the middle of doing? For hunting. That is actually very bad, right? So that means it's very likely it might possibly see us before we see it. Its reaction was obviously hostile. I mean, there's no way that this giant spider is at all interested in being our friend, right? So I'm not going to bother rolling for reaction here. That's just too obvious. Okay, so the giant spider. Let's go ahead and roll then for the initiative. It looks like Shauna has a +1 and Sage has a +2. So we actually have pretty good. So +2 there versus the spider has a +3. Oh crap. Okay, spider's in red. Yeah, the spider gets to go first. So, unsurprising to us, the spider is in fact out hunting. It sees us first and therefore gets to move. Now we are a far distance away, which means the spider. I need something to be the spider for me. I don't think that I have any of my minis that I made in the spider. I'm just gonna dig around here, see if I can just pull up a generic thing. My generic tokens. What a number. There, 9. There. So it's the number of legs plus the head. All right. So there's our spider. Now, I mean, now spiders typically like to try to like web you, but this one has poison, right? So it might actually be interested in just attacking us. So here's the thing. This spider, dropping stuff. Here we go. Okay. So I'm thinking the spider is actually just going to try to like run up to attack us, which means then in terms of movement, it starts far away. So then it needs to move from because it only has its bite. Right, so it is going to be moving from far to near and then to close. Now the question is, who is it going to target? Now, Sage is smaller because Sage is a halfling, where Ishan is a human. I think that might make Sage the more attractive target. So it's going to run up there. Now, the double move though means that it doesn't actually get to attack this turn, which is good. So then we have the option of either attacking it or trying to run away. Now, running away, because I think because Sage is already close, that's going to be a problem. Um, so okay, here's the question: Are we on the same? I don't think we are. I don't think we're on the same day. It makes sense here. Uh, yeah, this cannot have happened the same day. The Sage was in the dungeon before, or they would have taken some time. Okay, so okay, I was just thinking about whether because he once a day can turn invisible for 3 rounds. Whether it makes sense for him to turn invisible and then run off, and that would give the possibility of Ishana escaping as well. So I think that's what we're going to do. Of course, that means that if we run into another random encounter, I think that this trip can all be done in one day, right? So it doesn't really make sense to me that they would want to camp on what is really, I mean, it's like a 6 mile trip or something like that. It's not going to take outrageously long for them to travel that. And so, yeah, yeah, I think we're just going to do that. So we're going to use the invisibility, and then he takes off, and so will Ishana as well. They're going to run away. It doesn't make sense for them to hang around to try to fight the spider. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We ran away from the spider, which is good. It's good. All right. Let's be honest. The spider's not going to give us any like treasure or something like that. It wouldn't make sense for us to hang around any more than necessary. Okay. All right. I just want to double. Yeah, there actually aren't even rules here for there being. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Monsters in the wilderness would not carry treasure with them. Certainly, a spider wouldn't. Okay. All right. So in that case, let us continue on our way as far as that goes. So we encountered a spider, we made it past the spider, and then I totally lost my map. that I don't know how many rolls you have left to go. There we are. Okay, so we encountered the spider in this part of the trip. So we were here in the forest, and then we continue right through the forest here. We're going to go past a lair of some kind, which we're probably unaware of. So as far as we know, we're going through the forest, through the hills, and then into the plain where there is this castle. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we've got how many more steps? One, two, so three more. Nothing in the next part of the forest. As we go into the hills, nothing. And as we go into the plain where the castle is, nothing. So we managed to make it there without everybody dying. Okay. So I'm just going to note here in my notes that we did travel to the castle, and it is here that we're going to hope to get perhaps both a fighter and a feat. That'd be awesome if we could do that. But in the meantime, I think this is a good place to stop. A relatively short session. No problem with that, right? Okay, so thank you for getting in, and this is Profi signing off.